So probably yung discussion natin, it's a continuation, no? So from literary arts, we are now moving to performing arts, no? And don't be confused, no? Pag performing arts, it's different from performance art, no? Kasi yung performance art in our previous discussion as part of the contemporary art and visual art, this is something to do with photography o kaya yung mga installation art, no? Yun sila, no? Okay? Okay, so allow me to share my screen for for the detail or elaboration of our discussion as regard to what we call performing arts. Okay, to check, nakikita na ba yung PowerPoint? Kikita na to, yung PowerPoint. Any reaction? Okay, Albert, thank you. Thank you, Matthew, Sophia, Eric, in person of Fauci. Okay, so performing arts. So the focus of our discussion something to do with the film or the cinematography. Of course, mass media, ano lang yan, part lang na, no? And then yung theater. So we start our discussion with what we call yung theater arts, no? Yan. So these are some, no? Yung mga nakikita niya, no? Performing arts. So dancing is part of, kasama yung pagsayaw, no? And then, of course, yung classic na unang sayaw, yung what we call ballet, no? Or the ballerina, right? And in arts, kung i-recall natin, Edgar Degas is known for what we call what we call the in terms of uh, subject na mga sumasayaw or mga ballet dancers, of course, si Edgar Degas. No? And yan, no, sample. Yan, no, gymnastic, it's also a performing arts, and then yung mga clown or circus, no? So what is performing arts, no? So these are the different types, no? When we talk about performing arts, no, actually, are arts such as music, dance, drama, theaters, which are performed for audience, no? Literally, mga stage play yan, no, mga ginagawa, mga variety show, those are referred to what we call performing arts, no? So performing arts, it can be ranged from vocal and instrumental music, dance, no? So during the time of Beethoven, Mozart, in our discussion, so when they perform in the opera or theaters, no? So still that is music, but still considered as a performing arts, no? So yun nga, no? Performing arts range from vocal, instrumental music, dance, theater. So from the theater, from the pantomime, from the songburst, and beyond, no? Or something to do with musical, no? Uh, so performing arts include numerous cultural expressions, no, that reflect human creativity and that are also found to some extent in many other intangible cultural heritage domain, no. So yan ang focus ng discussion natin, no, about performing arts. So these are some example, no, yan, no. So, may sumasayaw, may nagpe-perform, even magic or some other form of entertainment na pine-perform ng tao, of course, those are considered performing arts, no? So these are example, like this one, puppetry is an example of performing arts, magic, no? And then yan, yung ventriloquist, I think you are familiar with this one, no? Yung pinapalabas yung sounds, of course, mga dance, street dance, no? And then the Mardi Gras, of course, mga concert, no? Like this one, no? All of these are example of what we call performing art, no? Or performing arts. So kailan ba nagsimula yung performing arts, no? Or let's now under performing arts, of course, we have what we call theater, no? Or what we call the theater art. Specific type of performing arts is what we call theater art. No? Ano ba yung theater art? A theater art is somehow defined as a collaborative art form which combines word, voice, movement, visual element to express meaning. Actually, yung theater art, of course, yung original we called what we called a play. No? Meron tayong tinatawag na play. Now, in a play, of course, there is what we call a dialogue, no? And then later on, they perform in the theater, kaya somehow tinawag siyang theater art, no? Anything that's performed in the theater are considered as theater art, no? So theater art, pag sinabi natin is a collaborative form for performing art that uses live performers, no, mga tao, usually actor or actresses, to present the experience of a real or imagined event before a live audience in a specific place or often on stage, no? Example natin ito. Yeah, let's see this one, no? So palaging may ano tayo ngayon, YouTube source, no? Salamat may YouTubes kasi because of these YouTubes, madali natin nakikita natin kung ano ba yung mga dinidiscuss. Okay? So probably that's an example of performing arts, no? The cats, no? Now, this performing art somehow hindi lang siya auditory, no? Combination na siya. We can classify the theater art like that one example, no? As a combined art, no? Bakit sa combined art? Anyone would like to react about that? Bakit sa combined art? The example before. Why do you think it's a combined art? Anyone in the class? Yes, anyone? Bakit po na nagre-react? Bakit masasabi natin combined art? Yes. Anyone would like to react about that? Yung pinakita ko kanina. Why do you think it's a combined art? From auditory to combined art. Bakit sa combined art? Naririnig niyo naman ako, no? Yeah, thank you, Sophia. Yes, Sophia. Any
For me, sir, because it's a mixture of dance, singing, and yung mga arts po na yan, sir. Yung mga iba klase pong arts like dance, singing, painting, drawings, like that po, sir.
Yes, yes. Although walang visual art na painting or drawing, pero may visual action, no? Tama, Sophia. So kaya sa classified as combined art, no, pinagsama na yung literary arts, and then pinagsama yung performing arts, no? And then yung dance na as an art, pinagsama-sama. Kaya it can be classified as a combined art. Okay? So nakikita pa rin ba yung PowerPoint?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. So let me continue our discussion. So okay, so that is in the theater art, no? Now, from the theater art, so let's move on its history, no? Kailan ba nagsimula yung theater art, no? So as early 525 to 385 BC, the Athenian or during the classical period, a dramatic era of tragic poets, and I think natatandaan niyo sila, that includes Aeschylus, no? We have Aeschylus, Sophocles, and then uh, and of course Euripides, no? So doon nagsimula, no? Because of their drama or what I mean, yung kanilang sinulat, no? Mga play na sinulat nila. So they were performed in the oval or what called like in nakikita yung visual na yan, yung auditorium. So diyan nagsimula, no? Pinerform nila like yung kay Aeschylus, yung Agamemnon, pinerform 458 BC. And then yung kay Sophocles, si Antigone, no? At saka si Oedipus Rex, wherein they became movie also, no? And then yung kay Euripides, yung Medea. So they were considered as the first Euripides was considered as the first choreographer incorporate dance in his play. And take note, no, before the one who perform are puro lalaki, no, kasi yung society natin napaka-patriarchal, no? Kahit walang babaeng nagpe-perform, no? Okay, even in the time of Shakespeare. Now, so as early as 525 to 385 BC, meron ng theater or meron ng play, no? Yun nga because in Greek, no, in Greek literature or what we call in the Greek civilization, no? Sina Aeschylus, Sophocles, and so on, and so sila yung nauna, no? Now, around 500 to 800 AD, Anno Domini, so yung chapter is all but extinct in both Western and Eastern Roman Empire during the Dark Ages, medieval to, no? Because Christian opposed the entertainment, no? Pinagbawal naman, no, nung mga around 500 to 800 AD, no? Year of the Lord, no? So wala naman numinto bali yung mga performance, no? And kung from the uh, tragedy na pinerform ni na Aeschylus, of course, meron din mga other event, di ba? Yung mga gladiator, pinapakita din dyan, no? So those are different theater art, no, or performing art, no. Now, around 900 AD, no, ito yung ironical naman. The church introduced dramatic performance, no. So this is celebration during the Easter services, no. Uh, Acting out the story of the resurrection, no. So yun nga, ironically, yung nagbawal, siya naman nagpasimuno noong 900 AD, no. And of course, from 980, so around 980, nung 1489 naman, no, meron ng mga performing na dance. So this is the time wherein ballet is performed for the first time, no. So unang sa mga sayaw, yan ang pinapakita ng mga ballet, no. And then in 1550, uh, one of the oldest, no, yung Commedia dell'arte in Italy, no, flourished in Italy and Western Europe, no. These are some, no. So dati, no, kung makikita ninyo yung pinapakita kong visual na to, diyan piniperform, no, big crowd, no, auditorium or the oval, no, or what called the Coliseum, no. Ang laki, no. So you have a gathering, a big audience, no. At mahirap, no, pag sinabi natin theater art, mahirap siya kasi walang take two. So kung nagkamali ka kapag nagpe-perform ka, hindi mo na maano yun, no? And I think na-experience yan when you are doing a play, no? To continue, do you have concern, questions? Later on, nagmo-modern, no? Yung nagkaroon ng mga theater, no? Kaya nga theater art, no? So in 1570, si Count Giovanni Bardi the batch or the books yung kay Elizabeth yung tinatawag na Elizabethan Masque, no. Of course familiar kayo kay Queen Elizabeth of Great Britain, no. An illustrated form of entertainment that feature music, dance, and elaborated uh, costuming, no. So yun ang mangyari, no, nagkaroon ng parang variety show, parang kino-consider din as part of the history of what we call the first theater art, no. In 1576, na-create yung theater, no. This is the first commercial theater open in London, no. Tinatawag siyang Elizabethan Playhouse, no. So although this reference, no, nakapokus siya sa Europe at saka Western, no. O sa Western, yun, no, parang kino-consider the oldest theater yung Elizabethan Playhouse, no. In this reference, no, kasi may other reference na iba naman sinasabi, no. In 1594, ito yung related pa rin kay Elizabethan Playhouse, no. Kasi yung usually pine-perform talaga naman yung like in our previous discussion, yung mga concert, opera, pine-perform yan sa mga aristocrat may yaman, no, hindi sa public, no. Di ba sa court, parang gano'n, no? Now, in 1594, nabuo yung tinatawag na Chamberlain Men, no? These are the leading Elizabethan and Jacobean theatrical company of the day, no? Nabuo siya, its form, no? And most of, in the Chamberlain Men, I think you're familiar kay William Shakespeare, siya yung namuno, no? William Shakespeare as the chief playwright and Richard Burbage was one of the most famous actor at that time, no, nagpo-perform. Okay? And then in 1597, si Jacopo Peri's musical fable, pinerform niya, no, or naka-create siya ng isang theater act or theater production, yung Daft, no, o si Daphne, no. Often considered as the first opera performed at the Palace of Jacopo Corsi, no. Yung now opera becomes preferred entertainment of the aristocracy, no, or the aristocrat, gaya na sinasabi ko, no. So, kung natatandaan ninyo yung discussion natin about kay Beethoven, kay Amadeus Wolfgang, kay other ano, no. So, from orchestra, no, may referring to the music, so may nagpe-perform ngayon, no. And yun nga, no, one yung ginawa ni Jacopo Peri. Later we will watch that, no. In 1598 to 1608, no, this is the time wherein William Shakespeare wrote a lot of what we call na uh, a short story or a novel, like yung Much Ado About Nothing, As You Like It, no, all all's well that ends well, kay Julius Caesar, no, and then yung Hamlet, Othello, King Lear, Macbeth, and Antony and Cleopatra. All of these, no, na mga sinulat ni William Shakespeare, they are play, no, and then they were performed in the theater. Okay, so by around 59, so in the year 1598 to 1608, no, as early as 1598, no, ewan natin kung ano na yung Philippines at that time, no. Of course, we are under the colony of the under colonial rule of Spain, no, that time, no. Kaya maybe in the Philippines meron na rin, no. In 1607, si Claude Monteverde, yung kanyang Orfeo, regarded as the first, no, masterpiece to be in opera history, no, performed and revolutionized music by establishing a tonal system and giving a more flexible accompaniment. And then in 1619, natayo yung Teatro Parnise in Parma, Italy, no, wherein it uses the proscenium art for the first time, no. Okay. Concern, question? So these are some, no. Ito yung Teatro Parnise, no. And this is what we call the Chamberlain Man, no, piniperform, and it was in Europe, no. And one example, yung kay Duff, no, yung kay theatrical art, no, yung kay Duff na piniperform, no. Ito siya para magka-idea, no. Buti na lang, no, yung kay rather yung kay Orfeo pala to, not Duff, no, sorry. So ito yung kay Orfeo. So musical siya, no. So very majestic, no. So as I mentioned a while ago, from the composition of this great composer like Beethoven, Mozart, no, uh, Strauss, no, Chopin, no, Lynch, and so on, no. So from orchestra, meron nagpe-perform, no. Medyo advanced natin. No? May balcony play pa, no. Yan. So, yan. So there is also a music accompaniment, no. So this is Orfeo, no, by Monteverdi. So yung mga pinapanood ng mga mayayaman, no, o in that time, no, of course only the elite or the aristocrat can watch, no, parang may ano pa yan, parang exclusive for them only, no. Okay? Any reaction about that? And then another musical na ginawa rin ni yung kay Duff naman, no, ito let's watch this one, no, one of the oldest ano din. Ayan, no? Medyo malabo na yung screen, no. So that it's about the love story of Apollo, no? In the story, konti na yung character dyan. Si Apollo, si Venus, and then si Gabo, isa siyang nymph, no? Parang nymph are living in the wilderness, no? then it was nag-invade siya for so that's an example or actual na ginawa. Okay, so as you can see, ganun yung form of entertainment that time, no, and not everyone can afford, no, as in the late 16th century, not everyone can afford to go to a theater or can watch, no, only those who are belong to the parang sinabi natin aristocrat or what called mga elite, no, or mga mayaman, no, of course ngayon iba na, no, okay, any reaction concern about that? May reaction ba?
Ako, sir, pansin ko lang, sir.
Yes. Yes, Pauchi.
In the Philippines, sir, di ba, noon, mahirap i-afford. Ngayon, sir, afford naman, kaso, konti na lang ng mga nagpe-perform, tapos malalayo pa yung mga theatrical stadium dito, sir.
Yes, nasa Manila lahat, no? Oo, tama. Only, of course, may mga school like in Holy Angel University, ang daming nag-i-invite sila, no? Nung hindi pa pandemic, ang dami namin yung napapanood doon, no? I like the orchestra, the Philharmonica, no? And then they perform the Sound of Music, no? And then yung The Life of Nepomuceno, pinandun doon, no? May mga ano naman, like, I think AUF ganun din siguro, no? Kaya lang mas related ako, affiliated kami, or may ano, All Angel, kaya doon may napapanood kami. Tama si Paul doon, no? Yes, Albert. So don't forget to type, no, yung score niyo. Sophia.
Sir.
Yes, Albert.
Sa performing arts ba, sir, kasama ba yung banda, sir? Kino-consider ba na kasama sa...
Yes, the rondalla, ayan. Actually, kinlassify natin yung mga yan sa music kasi more on gumagamit sila ng musical instrument. But still, part pa rin sila ng performing arts. Kaya nga tinawag na performing arts kasi they perform, no, to the people or to the public or to their audience. Tama ka doon, no? Pero mas kinlassify natin yung rondalla, band, no, yung mga concert sa music, no. Kinlassify natin sila doon as what we call the art, no, music auditory arts. Okay? Kasi more on the ano sila. Pero they are belong pa rin. Thank you for clarification, Albert.
Sir, anti mo itong TTKD, sir, performing arts siya, kita?
Yung
TTKD din na ulit, sir.
yes, that's also ano, basta may tao na involved and then they sing, they act, they perform to the public, those are considered performing arts, no? Kaya lang yung more pag musical ano siya na hindi siya sa theater ginawa mga ano recording ano, of course music siya, no? Pero pag sa theater siya or stage, performing arts, no? Diba, may nagkakaroling performing arts yun, no? Okay, pwede natin sabihin na as a musical art, no? Or performing. Okay? So, sige, thank you for the clarification. Let's continue our discussion, no? So, yan, no, yung oldest, ano, no, pinerform, no, na pwede natin sabihin. Now, from the Chamberlain men, nabuo sila because of Queen Elizabeth, no? And then later on, yung Florence Theater in Italy. So, nagpatuloy, no? In 1637, dumadami na yung mga theater. One of the theater being developed or established was yung San Cassiano Theater in Venice, no? And somehow this one becomes the home of the first public opera house. At least to naging public siya, no? Hindi siya exclusive, no? Unlike before, yung yung ano, they are exclusive. So later on, na open na rin sa public na that everyone can perform, or rather everyone can watch, no? And then around 1642 to 1660, following the Civil War, no, in 1642, again na-close na naman, no. The Puritans closed and burned down all the English theater and forbid acting, no. Sino ba yung mga Puritans, no? Puritans, they are a group of Protestant that time, no. Kasi during that time may I think you are familiar, no, yung kung paano nabuo yung Protestant, no, because of Martin Luther, no. A priest were in nag-deviate siya or or nag-protest siya against the Catholic belief, no? Kaya yon, one of these yung tinatawag na Puritans, no? Parang group sila. There actually may mga war talaga, no? Like in Prague, no? When we talk about Prague, no? Prague is part of the capital of Czech Republic. During that time, no? Nag-aaway yung Catholic and Protestant, no? Ang daming namatay, no? Merong in their history tinatawag na throwing in the window, literally tinatapon or sinusunog, no? So yun, no? So 1642 to 1660 medyo wala muna, no? Nag-close yung mga ano because of this what we call group of Protestant Puritans. They close and burn down all the English theater and forbid acting, no? Parang yung nangyari, no? Nung time naman ng as early around 500 to 600 AD, yung mga Catholic naman ayaw din. Then later on, ironically, sila na nag-open, no? Now, it was only in 1660, ito, no? Wherein women start appearing in French and English play, no? Yan, no? Around 1660. Kasi sabi ko nga sa inyo, in the early history of the theater or what we call play, lalaki lahat na nagpe-perform, no? And among the identified women, no, that the first who are among the pioneer in a theater act or what we call in a play, we have Elizabeth Barry and Anne Presgirdel, no, are among the pioneer, no, in the French and English play. And then in 1681, ito, no, si Pierre Beauchamp and its companion, si Jean Baptiste, they wrote what we call yung Lettre de Amour, no, which picture de La Fontaine, the first woman, and here, the first woman to dance professionally in ballet, no, in performance may ballerina. Later we watched that, no. And then in 1685, si Alessandro Scarlatti, he founded the what we call the Neapolitan School of Opera, which establishes the capo or the three-part aria, no. And then in 1689, si Henry Purcell's, no, yung kanyang Dido and Ainas, another play, no, was considered as the first English operatic masterpiece performed by young women at Joseph Rees Fishing School in Chelsea, England. Kasi nga, before, walang nagpe-perform na babae, no? So yung ginawa ni Henry Purcell, yung Dido and Ainas, no, was considered as the first English operatic masterpiece na pinerform ng mga young women o kababaihan. And then in 1730, yung kay Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet was performed in New York, no? Actually, Romeo and Juliet, maraming ano yan, no? Very popular siya. And then 1735, that was only the time wherein ballet arrives in America. And then Henry Holt staged the first, no, production for the what we call Charleston, South California. And then si John, yung kanyang Flora naman, the first opera performed, no? So from Europe, nag-move tayo ng US, no? Okay? Concern, question? Wala. Now, para ma-appreciate natin, yan, no? Ito yung chatter na sinasabi ko kanina, no? And then this one is also what we call about something to do with another performance na ginawa, no? So that's what. Buti na lang sa YouTube may mga nag-upload na na pwede nating makita, no? Kung hindi, parang ano ba to? Something like that. At least in YouTube, ayan, yung Leroy Dance, no? Yung kay forward natin konti, no? Para so this is an example, no? Leroy Dance or what? So medyo ano lang, no? But these are some of the scene, no? May ginawa. Actually, it was into a movie, no? Okay? Now, from this one, let's watch this one, no? Yung pinerform ng mga kababaihan, no? The first performed by a woman or a young woman in like yung kay Tido and Arias, no? Forward natin, no? So this is about dito sa namin, no? O yung kay Andy Proced, yung Dido at Anias, no? Ina-advance siya, no? So, pinapanood niya na si Cheddar, no? So, kung mapapansin niyo, all theater act, no? Lahat ng mga nagpe-perform na are usually, sila, no? In our previous discussion, when we talk about yung voice type, mga soprano, no? At mga tenor or counter tenor, no? Yun ang mga nagpe-perform. Now, another one na pwede natin makita sa YouTube naman, yung kay Romeo and Juliet. Ito medyo may pagka-modern touch na, no? And I think you are familiar, no, about the story of Romeo and Juliet, no? Yan, no? So they are musical, no? From dialogue na like the dialogue, yeah, like that.
With my unworthiest hand,
And they
this holy
incorporated what we call yung
the gentle
orchestra,
spin
then
this.
as an effect or the music.
my
No?
lips, two
So this
blushing
is modern
pilgrims
na, no?
ready
Kasi
stand,
tignan nyo, hindi na ganyan yung
Smooth that rough
kasuotan
touch.
nila, hindi
the
na
tender kiss.
katulad ng
Pilgrim,
dati.
you do wrong your hands too much. Which manner
So
they
this is a
devote
dialogue
to
between
the
Romeo and
For saints
Juliet.
have hands that pilgrims' hands do touch. And palm to palm is holy Palmer's kiss.
Have not saints' lips and holy palmers too?
Aye,
And
pilgrims
break sila.
that they must use in prayer.
But then, dear saint, let lips do what hands do. They pray. Grant thou lest faith turn to despair.
Saints do not move, though grant for prayer's sake.
Then move not, while my prayers effect. I take.
So yan, no, kung chatter yan, play on the spot, no, walang
Not
ano yan,
for my
walang
lips.
take two,
By thine
unlike
must things
in
burst.
the
My
movie, pwede mag-take two, no, dito
Listen
hindi,
for my
no?
lips, a trespass sweetly urged. Give me my
Okay.
sin again.
Tumawa, no, yung dahil siyempre,
My life is my
parang
foe's
nakaisa
debt.
siya, no? So this is something musical siya. And we incorporated with dance also, no? Walang modern na. A modern Romeo and Juliet. Pero still the story, something weird about Romeo and Juliet. Binigyan ng modern touch or contemporary.
Why, the more is my arrest. Gentlemen, prepare not to be gone. We have a trifling, foolish back.
Okay? So, any reaction about that? Or about, any reactions? So, gaya na sinasabi ko, no, hindi madali sa play or a play act or what we call sa theater mag-perform, no? Kaya, probably we can say sila yung best actor and actress as compared to sa mga napapanood natin, no? Kasi sa mga TV na pinapanood natin or movie house, sa cinema, pwede silang mag-take two. Pero sa theater, no, hindi, no? Pag diretso, pag pumunta ka na doon, ito na yon, no? Walang take two o walang cut, no? Hindi pwedeng, kaya kung nagkamali ka, ayun, yun na yun, no? As it is na. Okay? So, to continue, I hope na appreciate nyo, no, yung mga nakikita ninyong dinidiscuss natin. So, this, of course, yung background natin dito, yung Frozen, no? From the cartoon Frozen, of course, may stage play din siya, no? Now, to continue, in 1751, no, the Virginia Company of Comedians, no, was the first professional theater company in the U.S. opened, no, the temporary wooden playhouse in Williamsburg, Virginia, no, and then in 70, so kumbaga nauso na, no? Na from that year, ang dami ng tao na probably this is a business, no? They put up their own theater, no? And then in Philadelphia, yung Southwark Theater, considered the first permanent American theater building, no? Na tinayo sa Philadelphia, no? So from Europe, pumunta tayo ng US, no? In 1778, yung in Italy naman, Milan's Teatro alla Scala, or the Italy's leading opera house, and one of the world's most renowned opera, no, is built also. And nandyan pa yan, nag-exist pa, no? And in the time, or in that year, 1786, no, si panahon ni Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, no, collaborate with Lorenzo de Ponte, they performed the Marriage of Figaro, no, which premiered in Venice, Vienna, Austria. And then it also complete the Don Giovanni the following year, and then premiere in Prague, no. So kung natatandaan yung discussion natin before, something to do with music, no. And in 1816, since hindi pa masyadong yung kuryente, gumagamit sila ng gas lighting to use for the first time in American theater at Philadelphia Chestnut, no? Street theater. And of course, in the same year, si Thomas Drummond naman, na-invento niya, no? Invented the limelight na ginagamit sa theater, no? Yung pang spotlight, di ba? So, di ba ma-effect din yung light? Pwedeng i-dark. Of course, kung gumawa kayo ng play, no? I remember when I was in college, may play na ginagawa, no? Yun, no? Kami mismo I was assigned in the light, no? Medyo expensive yung mga yon, no? Yung mga kaya yung in charge, that was in seminary, si Father yun, sabi niya, mag-ingat daw sa paggamit, baka masira kasi mahal, no? Si Father Ed. And then in 1859, the French Opera House, so this is in US, no? The first great opera house, no, in America, no, it was built, no? And then in 1865, yun, no, yung mga naman na dating dating sila, no, wherein they perform circus or clown or like the former circus clown, no, si Tony Pastor opened his first variety theater in New York, no. Kung napanood niyo yung the Great Performer ba yun or something, no, yun, no, tama ba? I think, no. So kinonvert niya, no, into what we call the Greatest Showman, no? Kung napanood yung Greatest Showman, ganun, no? Yung pinapakita, that is the theater, no? Pinapakita, no? And then, that time, no, parang kailangan makakita, to draw an audience or to, para ma-attract mo yung audience, kailangan meron kang unique, no? Or something unique, extraordinary performer. Like in that time, no, the Greatest Showman, no? Kakaiba sila, di ba? May babae na may bigote, no? May mga ganitong tao or ganyan, and they are talented, no? Okay? Question, concern? May tanong ba? Roy? Ochi? Sophia? Wala?
Wala naman po, sir.
Okay, thank you. So, to continue, ayan, no, now in that time naman, no, from the classical music na pinaperform, bigla-bigla na-introduce yung tinatawag natin something na medyo erotic, no? And ito yung yung nakikita yung mga yung so something, no? Yung pagsayaw-sayaw.
Sir, may tanong pala ako, sir.
Yes.
May tanong po ako.
Yes.
Sa musical po ba, sir, or performing arts, sir, sa theater, yung po bang mga words nila, sir, pili lang din po o malaya po, sir?
Okay. No, depende yan, no? Depende yan sa depende sa director or Of course, pwede namang mag-ad-lib, no? Pero meron silang script. They have script, and yung script nila, of course, na ano na yon, na modify na, no? Kaya malaya rin silang magano. They can pero they have a script that follow, no? Minsan storyline lang, no? Uh, Minsan kapag magaling na yung actor and actresses, and then ito na yung storyline lang, no? And then pwede nang gawin. Actually, kung mabilis ang production or pang play, kahit storyline lang, no? Kapag may talent kang magaling mag-act, madali na yun, no? Okay? Now, from the classical, no, in 1868, si Lydia Thompson, and then together with the British Blands, they bring what we call the burlesque, no, to the United States. Ito yung it's a dance performance, no, yan, no, yung burlesque. And of course, literally, ewan ko kung familiar kayo, maybe in the 80s or yes, in the 80s, no, pag sinabing burlesque in the movie house, yeah, or bomba, yan ang mga yan, no, tawag burlesque, bomba, or they are referring to what we call to pornography, no. And of course, may live yan, itong example, no. Okay? I think yung striptease is one of the movie na pinapakita something to do with burlesque, no. And then it's in 1876, the first complete production, yung kay Wagner's, yung Ring, Titanic cycle of 4 musical drama opened for the first time, no, in Beirut Festival, no. Yung mga sayo-sayo na ganyan, no. And then in 1881, the first modern cabaret, like yung Le Chanor or the Black Cat, opened in Paris, no. So actually, yung burlesque and cabaret parang may pagkapareho, no. Wherein may pagka-konting sabi nga parang medyo may pagka-seductive yung dating nila, no. Okay? And then in 1883, the Metropolitan Opera House opened in New York with Gaunod Post, no. Mga mga play. In 1890, modern dance emerges when choreographer and dancer begin to rebel against the traditional ballet, no. Ito na nag-shift na, no. Nung 1890, from the traditional na pine-perform puro mga ballet dance lang, no, like the Twamlake and so on, no, the Nutcrackers, mga ganyan, no, puro mga ballet. And then from the burlesque, ngayon na-introduce na yung mga modern choreography, no, hindi na puro mga ballet. And then in 1901, si Konstantin Stanislavski, the founder of Moscow Art Theater, formulate the revolutionary Stanislavski method of acting. No? Kasi yung mga Russian, no, kilala din sila. Actually, sa ballet, no, sila yung nangunguna. No? And then in 1902, si composer, modern the proponent, no, si Claude Debussy introduced sa Impressionism yung in Pelas and Misande at the Opera Comic in Paris, no. And then in 1905, si Isadora Duncan, no, established the first school of modern dance in Berlin, no. And then in 1907, si Florence Ziegfeld introduced in Sulit Police, the legendary music extravaganza. Pag sinabi natin extravaganza, ito na yung parang variety show, no? Yan ang nag-modern, or what we call, nagkaroon ng variation, no? From simple act, or from simple performance na parang monotony lang, naging variety siya, no? Or variation. Kaya nagkaroon ng mga varieties or what we call the extravaganzas, no? So from 1907, yan, no, na-introduce yung mga ballet. Yan, no. So these are example of ballet performer. No? And again, hindi lahat nakakapag-ballet. No? Again, pang mayaman na naman. No? Pero ngayon, meron na rin, pero mahal din. No? In 1909, si Sir Diaghilev opened the ballet Russes de Sir Diaghilev, which began the era of modern ballerina or ballet, no? And it's 20-year reign as a ballet leading figure, no? And then si Mikhail Bakhtin, siya yung choreographer na is considered the most influential choreographer in the 20th century. And then in 1911, si De Rosenkavalier, pinerform nila yung kay Strauss naman, Richard Strauss masterpiece premiere in Dresden, no? And si Strauss, no, after ni na Beethoven, after Beethoven, sila na sumikan, no? Sina Strauss, Chopin, Debussy, and then in Russia, no, in Tchaikovsky, no? And then in 1913, yung Dark and Follies opened in Harlem, no. Dito na uso yung Harlem, something to do also related to Harlem dance, no. Harlem Black Cultural Center, no. 1920, si Eugene O'Onnell, he was able to stage or produce the first full-length play, yung Beyond the Horizon, no. And this is the time na sumikat yung Broadway in the United States, no. So, kumbaga, sa mga theater production or stage play, nangunguna yung Broadway, no? Or kilala sa buong mundo, no? And Broadway in 1920 win a Pulitzer Prize, no? Marking the beginning of the modern American drama, no? So, usually yan, no? Yung Broadway na lahat. And then in 1921 in Cleveland naman, no? Natayo yung Cleveland Playhouse, no? And then became the country's first, no, resident professional theater. So sa Amerika, dahil malaki nga yung USA, may kanya-kanya silang theater, and then part of their life, no. At kung napapansin niyo, kahit na nagmo-modern, nagiging civilized, nagiging high-tech, nagiging digital, yung United States o yung Amerika nare-retain, no. Hindi niya inaalis, no, kung ano man yung naging practice nila before, no. And then in 1926, si Martha Graham, the American pioneer of the modern dance revolt, no, gives her first New York performance, which featured 18 barefoot, evocatively costumed dancer, no. Kaya lang wala akong na ano dito. Hindi ko na pinapakita lahat sa no. And then in 1930, si John Rosenthal, one of the greatest lighting designer in the theater history, pioneered the concept of stage lighting. No, pinauso naman, no. Actually ngayon, no, when we talk about performing arts, yung light show, can be also it's not as a visual art. It can be also considered as a what we call performing arts, no. Yes, way back in 2009 ba yun or something, no, when we went in Singapore, yan may light show kami pinanood, no, and that's also a performing art, no, and then later on nadala na rin sa Pilipinas, no, ginagawa na rin, no. At yung mga drone, di ba, may mga drone na ngayon in this modern time, light sila, no, sa perform in open air. So it's also a performing art, no, kahit na hindi tao yung okay. And then in 1935, si George Gershwin combined the Black folk theme and the Broadway musical in 4G and Best, no. Question? May tanong ba? So nakikita yung evolution, no, yung paano nagmo-modern, nagbabago, no, and then may kaugnayan din yung technology, no. Na i-incorporate din yung digital, no. Ngayon, of course, may digital performance na, no. Kung nanonood kayo ng Olympic, no, di ba, last time in China, in Beijing, China, ang ganda ng nila, no. O nga, no, nakalimutan ko niya, may performance, no, before yung beginning. At same time, nung naman, before the pandemic na pala, no, nag-host yung Southeast Asian Game. Of course, nag-host yung Pilipinas, no, may mga performance, no, like yung concert, no, ni Apple the App, and then si Arnel Pineda, no, kung napanood yun, no.
Yung kay Apple the App, sir, napanood.
Yung
Kay Apple the App, yung closing remarks naman, sir.
Ganda, no, ganda ng kay Apple. Mas maganda yung kay Apple the App kaysa kay Arnel Pineda, no. Now,
yung APL song.
Yes, and then may inintroduce pang Pilipina, no, na naging nila, ang ganda. Okay, thank you for that, Fauci. No, in the Broadway, no, Broadway is a theater, no, na nagpe-perform, no. And I searched, no, nag-search ako, the 10 best musical of all time, no, na ginagawa sa Broadway. Actually, yung number one, yung West Side Story. The Passion Rebellion, the West Side Story. Ito yon, no. Ito, no, kung panoorin natin, no, some of the scene, no, in the West Side Story, no. Very interesting siya, no, because this is something to do with the time in the United States, no. Yan ang commercial. Commercial yan. No?
Kesa naman ubo. Buti na
So what about the West Side Story on Broadway? No? So there may dialogue, may singing. It's about Maria. No? It's the love story of Maria. So part na yan, no? Kumbaga subplot, no? Kung pag-uusapan natin sa novel, no? And again, some novel, they were also performed on stage, no? Naging theater din sila. Tignan yung setting, no? And then, sabi ko nga, mahirap sa theater, no? Kasi on the spot, no? Okay? So this is the website, one of the na naging sa Broadway, no? Isa sa mga naging best all the time, no? Website store, West Side Store. And then, ito yung about Jesus Christ, no? Jesus Christ Superstar. Ito naging ano din to, no? From the novel, from the script of novel or play, and then pinerform din siya. Musical, no? Usually in the theater or play, may nung modern, naging musical sila, no? So modern, no, this of course, this Christ the Superstar is about the story of Jesus Christ, no, of Jesus, no, from the time that he from a evangelization to no, naging famous din yan.
what to do.
This is Magdalene, no, medyo may pagka-modern lang.
Yes, really true. In these past few days, when I see myself, I see the rose full of wild and
From the ayan, no, napakaganda, no. So actually magandang manood mga mga theater talaga. Kasi talagang live yung performance, no. Then we have also, I think napanood niyo to sa movie, no, yung Rent, no. Meron din siyang from the bago sa naging movie, theater muna na perform mo sa Broadway. Familiar kayo dito, no? Rent. Napanood niyo 'yan? Did you watch yung Rent na movie, yung dito sumikat yung kantang talagang title yun. Ayan, nakatanda na. So parang reunion nila, no? So before it became a movie, yung Rent, no? Maganda rin, I-appreciate that movie, no? Na they are group of people, no? Yung kwento. And then they went to New York, they struggled. And then to the point na, and then then they were able to, nakilala sa pagpunta. Parang yung sa yes, the Season of Love. Don't feel that. Ang ganda ng setting na to, ano? So, stage, ano, performer yan. Setter, setter. Okay? Ganun rin. Okay, are you still here? Okay pa ba kayo dyan? Any reaction? No eyes pa ba kayo? Thank you for the heart, no? Okay? Thank you, okay? Now, from the rent, ito yung sa ano, yung cabaret or burlesque, no? Pinerform din sa Broadway. This is actually about the cabaret, no? Parang sa burlesque yan, no? Cabaret, I think yung sumikat yung New York. No?
To understand the way I am, mine hair. A tiger is a tiger,
So this is also
not a
Broadway.
man. Hair.
The cabaret.
You can turn the vinegar to jam my hair. So I do what I do. When I'm through, then I'm through. And I'm through. Toodaloo.
That's not it.
Bye.
Parang kita yun.
Mile by mile. And by man. Bye. 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 The white chicken.
That's the cabaret, no? Now, of course, in our discussion before, as regard to a novel, no, yung kay Victor Hugo, no, Les Miserables, no, before it became a movie, no, na performed by what we call na yung si Wolverine, no, Hugh Jackman, no. Now, before siya naging movie, pinerform muna siya sa Broadway. Ito yon, no, yung to. So let's watch, no, yung what we call Les Miserables, no, by Victor Hugo, no. Ang kapal na, ito rin daw a novel, no, ang kapal, no. So yan ang chapter, no. Diba yung about Les Miserables. Of course, hindi si Hugh Jackman yun. Chapter yun. So, this scene, kung napanood yun, no, ito yung parang, di ba, nagnakaw siya. Ito na yung si kay Anne ni character ni Anne. Nanakaw yun, no, yung character yun. Pero of course, it's not, etc. Ito the scene na yung inaharang nila. Then, yung mga kabataan. Okay? So, I hope na-appreciate nyo, no? Kaya lang ngayon wala na 'yan kasi pandemic ngayon kaya we cannot go to a theater. At sabi nga kanina ni Fauci, in our country sa Pilipinas, yung mga theater, of course may mga school like in Pampanga walang masyado, no. Actually yung Angeles meron, no, bago pa lang yung sa ilalim ng Abacan ginawa nilang 'yan, no, parang theater no, performing arts. Yung nila grupo, no, dun sila like painting and so on, no. Kung nakita niyo na, no, kinonvert nila, no, yung ilalim ng tulay, no, na parang dun pwedeng for public performance, no. And yung mga school na minsan sila, okay? Any questions or reactions? May tanong ba?
Sir Albert, sir, may tanong ako, sir.
Yes, Albert.
Sir, di ba pandemic po ngayon, paano po yung mga theater, hindi na po sila nag-aano?
Tama.
Kasi yung mga banda po, sir, nagla-live po eh.
Pero ngayon na-limit na naman, no, kasi dahil nga yung Omicron, medyo siya, madali siyang kumalat, no. So sa mga theater, wala muna, no.
Pero sa mga banda po, sir, nagla-live po. No, sir.
Pwedeng online na lang, di ba? Minsan sa YouTube may makikita tayo. Live concert nila, nasa YouTube sila, and then pinapanood sa di ba, sa Facebook din parang ganun, no? Pero yung physical, yung face-to-face, wala muna, di ba? Bawal muna yung mga big gatherings, no? Okay, thank you for that, Albert. Okay, to continue. So, from Broadway, no, na yan ang mga sumikat, no, yung West Side Story, Jesus Christ Superstar, Les Miserables, yung Tommy, yung Cabaret, Rent, The Rocky Horror Show, yung Hamilton, Guys and Dolls, meron din, no, The Chorus 9, no. So, are among the best in Broadway. Of course, in Asia, meron din, no, yung Miss Saigon, no. Later, may titignan natin, no. So this is in Dal and Dali, yung kay yan, sa Broadway. Now, in 1945, si Benjamin Britten, yung kanyang Peter Grimes, naging premiere siya in London, which signaled the birth of the British opera, no? And then in 1946, though, this is during World War II, no? George Balanchine and Lincoln Kirstein established the New York City Ballet, no? And then 1950, yung Broadway classic, yung nakikita niyo yan na yung Guys and Dolls, developed at 4th Street Theater and became an instant hit, no? Yan yung nakikita natin, no? Wherein the show ran for 3 years and became one of the greatest Whiteways longest running show with 1,200 performers, no? Or performances, no? Ang dami, no? So sumikat yan, no? Yung Guys and Dolls. And then in 1951, si Yul Brynner make his first appearance as the King of Siam in Rogers and Armiston, The King and I. No? Meron din movie yan. No? But before it became a movie, pinalabas muna, no? Wherein si Jared Lawrence as his co-star, no? In 1951. So imagine The King and I. Of course, kung papanurin mo yan sa YouTube, meron, no? Musical din siya, no? And referring to the King of Siam, no? In 1957 naman, si Leonard Bernstein, yung kanyang West Side Story sa Broadway, yung kanina, no? Devout on Broadway and bring violence to the stage. And then si Eugene O'Neill, A Long Day Journey into the Night, produced posthumously and win both the Tony Award and the Pulitzer Prize, no? Of course, Tony Award sa US and the Pulitzer. And then 1958, Alvin Ailey established the American Dance Theater, no? And then in 1962, the first dance concert held at New York in Judson Memorial Church. No, beginning of the Judson movement and postmodern dance. No, in Judson dancer, the use of performance space instead of stage. No, pangmalawakan to. No, or what I mean, open space. No. Now, from 1962, of course, these are example. No, yung Cats kanina, yung pinakita ko kanina. No. Broadway, no. And then in 1966, the old Metropolitan Opera House is abandoned, no? As the company moved to Lincoln Center, no? The new Metropolitan Opera opened in with Samuel Barber's Antony and Cleopatra, pinalabas din, no? Sa Metropolitan Opera House, no? In what we call Lincoln, no? And then 1968, the rock musical, yung Hair, opens in Broadway naman, no? Hair yung title, no? And then in 1971, the Kennedy Center for the Performance Art was opened also, or established in Washington, no, D.C., with the premiere of Leonard Bernstein yung Mass, no? And then 1974, si Mikhail Baryshnikov, yung premium Russian dance, the facts and joined the American Ballet. 1980, si Mark Morris established the Mark Morris Dance Group in New York, no, and it's widely received as the most promising modern dance choreographer of its generation. Remember that, no, Mark Morris. And of course, in 1982, yung Cats, no, from the novel, from the story, no, it was opened in Broadway, yung kaninang pinakon natin. Became Broadway longest running play, no, kasi all-time favorite sa ballet, no. So the Cats, no. And then in 1983, si R.B. Firstein, yung kanyang Torch Song Trilogy, win the New York Drama Critics Circle Award and Tony Award for the best play, making the acceptance of gay chatter. So it was only in 1983 where in the United States, tinanggap na yung performance ng mga gay, no? Kaya naano yung gay chatter, no? Of course, the great performer, no? Actually, mga gay yan, no? Usually sa chatter, no? Like Shakespeare. Sa Shakespeare nga, parang sinasabi nila, is a gay, no? In 1995, the Metropolitan Opera installed screen. Ito na, because of the modern technology in 1995, so yung background ngayon, nagiging high-tech na, no? Wherein they use what called yung screen, no? Kaya mabilis, no? Unlike in the traditional, pag nagpapalit sila ng scene or ng plot, no? Sasara muna yung kortina o kaya didelem, no? And then i-move nila yung mga gamit, no? Kaya yun ang yun ang kaibahan, no? Yun ang effort ng mga dati na pini-perform. Of course, may gumagawa pa rin gano'n, no? Pero dahil nga nauso na yung screen, yung projector, hindi na. Yung setup, makikita mo yung background, no? Nag-iiba lang yung screen. Kung nanonood kayo ng, tama ba, Sunday Pinasaya ba yun, no? Or Sunday Pinasaya, I think nagbabago nung hindi pa pandemic, no, nag-iiba yung screen nila, no, sa likod, no. So ganun na ngayon, no, in the modern time, since in the 90s, the opera now also embraced, no, the what we call the advancement or the use of technology as part of the theater art, no. So in the Philippines, no, yung last na parang pinalabas ng PETA, no, na yung Rock of Ages, no, wherein yung mga pinerform nila yan, no, at yung mga kanta are something to do with ages, no. I think familiar kayo dito, no, yung Rock of Ages. So PETA is the known, no, sa kilala sa sa Pilipinas, yung Philippine Education Theater. So this is yung lost ng Rock of Ages. And si Isel, no, Isel Sinigas, no, one of the leading, pwedeng sabihin na actress or performer. No? Okay. Now, from the Rock of Ages, ito yung pinaka-last na alam kong na pinerform na sa in theater, no, and then of course before that meron din mga like yung kay Ryan Cayabyab nung meron, no, pero itong nakita ko sa YouTube, it's more of parang siya, no, na ano na sa pandemic, parang pinapakita lang sa ano, no? So, these are composition of Ryan Kaya. Ang ganda ng music. So, yeah. I think this is already performed in the pandemic, no? Pero this is a concert pa rin, no? Sa Ugoy ng Duyan. So, performed by the Philippine Opera Company, no?
Dadalhin is a beautiful song that is written by Tats Faustino, which is then popularized
Okay,
by
it's not only with,
Philippine
no, by Ryan Kebiab, no? Meron din mga. Okay?
And beautiful at the beginning.
Now, from the Ryan Kebiab, no, as the Maestro Rai, ito yung other performance naman, something to do with Ugoy ng Duyan, no? And by a soprano, no? Sabi ko nga, nagpe-perform mga soprano yan, no? So kung hindi ka soprano, hindi ka parang hindi ka qualified to perform. So this one, sa Unang Duyan, matiyan ng Pasig by Filipino soprano Reservina and pianist Carla Margarina. So, okay, so that is what we call no sa Ugoy ng Duyan. And as you can see, dalawa lang sila, no? Hindi sa orchestra. Now, of course, known actress or performer as regard to what we call the Miss Saigon, ito, no, kilalang kilala si Lea Salonga. And I think nakikita niyo ngayon sa Channel 24, no? Sa mga judge ng ano ba yung competition na yon? Yung Channel 2. Of course, wala na yung Channel 2 ngayon, no? Okay, so this is Miss Saigon.
Ubo?
Hindi yan.
Nasa naman ubo? Buti nag-Tomex Advance with zinc ako.
So this is Miss Saigon Act 1 and performed in Manila. Of course, Saigon is in Black Moon, no? And Miss Saigon is yet Miss Saigon, it's a Filipino. Pero this one, it's a Broadway din, no? Although this one is in the Philippines, it's one of the, no, nakilala in performing there. Ito si Miss Saigon, si Lea Salonga.
Lower your eyelids and place the moon to get fresh.
Lighting effects. No? So, very important din in stage play, yung lighting. No? So dito hindi pa sila gumagamit ng background skill. No? Yung background skill, no? Natural effects. Okay, before I continue, may tanong ba kayo? May concern?
Sir, kahit hindi tao,
Yes?
sir, kahit hindi tao yung nagpe-perform dun sa theater, sir, tatawag pa rin na theater yan, sir. Kahit may lightning ba lang, sir?
Static yung ano. Hindi ko masyadong mag-gets. Fauci, no? Nag-statistic. Siguro medyo ang tawag dito, medyo grounded siguro yung ano mo, speaker or something, no? Medyo, hindi ko clear yung voice, no? Ayan, no? Or hindi ko alam kung sa akin, no? Okay? Fauci, sorry for that, no? Hindi ko masyadong nag-gets yung concern, no? Any other concern?
Hello.
Ayun, okay.
Okay na, sir.
Ayan, medyo okay. Clear ng konti.
Yung sa theater, sir, kahit hindi po tao yung nagpe-perform, sir, mako-consider pa rin na, kunwari, musical fountain, sir. Kahit walang tao, sir, yung lightning, sir, mako-consider pa rin, sir.
Yeah, a while ago I mentioned, no, yung light show, performing arts pa rin yan, no? Yung sabi ko nga, way back in 2009 ba yun or something, when we went in Singapore, pinanood namin, no? Though may mga tao, light show, no? Na ginagawa na rin. Yung mga drone, di ba? I think nung Olympics, pinakita rin yung mga light show, di ba? Yung mga drone, ginamit nila, no? And then they form a different. Those are also considered na performing arts pa rin yun, no? Kahit na hindi tao, but there are audience, no? Classified pa rin, no? Okay? So, and then let's watch this one, no? Ito ba yung kay Isa Makuha? I think, sana. Yes, in our country, sa Pilipinas, no, when we talk about ballet dancer, the greatest ballet dancer that we can si Lisa Makua Lizalde na ngayon, no? Siya yan, no? Siya yung kilala. And this is one of its performance, no? Yung one, okay? Hindi pala, ano pala to? Document pala to. Yung performance one day, no? So, isa sa mga kilala, no? Si Lisa Makua, no? Lizalde na ngayon. And then some of the performance also na something to do with PETA. Ito yung sa art. Yeah, look at the PETA, no?
5, 4, 3, 2, and front, and front, and side, and side,
So parang sa school lang. No?
side, and side,
Ay nako, siguro kasi magkaaway naman sila nung ate niya.
and side.
Hala, panay ang ating classes ni Jan na. Ala, kakaloka. Sakay ko nagkat na rin ng class. Baka may kain mo na.
Those are PETA. No?
Ay, may
Okay, so kung hindi na natin in-elaborate, no, sa Pilipinas, but actually as early as 16th century, meron na rin performance sa Philippines, no? And of course, we are aware that we are colonized, no? Or sinakop tayo ng Kastila, and may performance na no, and introduced by the Spaniard, and then later on yung mga Filipino, they have their own, no? Okay? Now, from theater arts, specific to theater arts, we're now moving to cinematography or what we call film, no? Kaya pa ba? Okay pa ba kayo? Okay. So, kaya pa siguro. Pero medyo mahaba-haba pa ang discussion natin dito, no? So, from live performance, ngayon, naging, ano na siya, no? Naging, of course, in the digital, probably we can say digital, no? Pero hindi pa ganun ka-advanced yung technology when we talk about the cinematography or what we call film, no, as regard to history, no. So pag sinabi natin cinematography, is simply referring to the full illusion, or what called is the illusion of movement by the recording and subsequent rapid projection of many still photographic picture on a screen, no? Yan, no, black and white, no? Kaya nga tinawag na silver screen, diyan nagsimula, no? Originally a product of the 19th century scientific endeavor, cinema has become a medium of mass entertainment, no? So from live performance, no, yung mga theater, naging pumasok ngayon yung tinatawag, yung ngayon kasalukuyan, of course, may mga movie house tayo, sinehan, no? So kailan ba nagsimula, no? So and probably today is a one of the billionaire, no, or billions industry, no, yung what we call billion pound industry, yung what we call yung cinema or cinematography, no, or yung movie or yung film, no. Pero ngayong pandemic nagka-problem din, no. So yan, no, ito yung kwento or what could the history, no, sinimulan, no. Cinematography or yung film, bali yung first ano niya, nagsimula siya noong 1891, no? And something to do with the Edison Company technology, siyempre, successfully demonstrated a prototype of what we call the kinestoscope, no, which enabled one person at a time to view moving picture. Tingnan yung moving picture that time, yan, no, yan, ganyan siya. At pag sinabi natin kinetoscope, etong mga yan, no, yan. So, uh, yung tao that time, nahuhook na sila dyan, no? Kumbaga, one way as part of their recreation or parang maalis yung stress nila, yan ang ginagawa nila. Nanonood sila to kinetoscope. Parang no, tumitingin ka sa microscope and then tinitignan mo, ganyan siya, no? That's the kinetoscope, no? Yan, yung nung 1893, ayan, yung mga, yan, no? Of course, 1893, the first public kinetoscope demonstration took place. Ayun sila, no? So, kung i-relate natin sa panahon natin ngayon, siguro titingin ka for out of curiosity, pero hindi mo naman sila, no? Parang hindi naman, ayan, no? Parang yung hazard, no? Napaka-hazardous nila. Yung mata, and then yung position para panoorin mo sila, no? And then tingnan mo yung pakikinig, no? So, actually, these are silent movie pala, no? Wala at that time. Then later nagkaroon. Yan, yung itong example ng na nakikita sa kinetoscope, no? And then silver screen nga ang tawag, no? And then in 1894, the kinetoscope was commercialized, no? Commercial success, no, or was with public parlors. Yan, tawag mo yan parlors that time na established all over the world. But okay, now from 1894, ito yung kauna-unang parang palabas, no. In 1895, in the month of December, the first to present the projected moving picture to a paying audience, parang sine, were the Lumiere brothers. Ito yung mga yan, no. Si Auguste and Louis Lumiere in Paris, France, no. Ito yung yan yung anong event, no. At ganyan lang pinapanood, no. And then in 1914, several national film industry were established in Europe, Russia, and Scandinavia, no. And then in 1906, the principle of color separation were used to produce so-called the natural color moving image, yung tinatawag ng British Kinemacolor. Ngayon, nagkakaroon ng kulay, no? Actually, yung color noon, hindi pa ganun ka-perfect, no, in 1906. Parang sepia, no? Or hindi pa ganun ka-perfect yung color, no? And then in 1909, that was the time, no? Or the first to presented in the public, no? So 1909, no? First presented in the public. Now, in 1912, yung Kinemacolor was primarily used for documentary film, no? Such as with the epic Our King and the Queen in India, no? Or also known the Delhi Dubar, which ran over 2 hours in total. Yan, no? Meron din and then si Charles Urban, noong April 15 to 1890, si Charles Urban was an Anglo-American film producer and distributor, and one of the most significant figure in the British cinema before the World War One. No, he pioneered the documentary, educational, propaganda film, and so on. No, first successful color picture. No, si Urban attributed kay Charles Urban. No, and then this is the first dati di ba silent movie yan, no? And then later on nagkaroon ng sound, no? In 1915 onward, the early Technicolor process were cumbersome and expensive, no? Mahal yung pag-produce ng Technicolor. And then color was not used more widely, no? And then later on 1932 na-introduce yung three-color process, no? And then in 1927 the first feature-length movie incorporated, synchronized dialogue. Ito yung unang-una, The Jazz Singer ng Warner Brothers, no? Isa yan, no? The Warner Brothers, yung kauna-unahan, no? Kung titingnan natin, ito ba yun? So, silver screen, no? Black and white. And then silent movie. Kung, yan, yung mga example, no? Parang documentary. So as you can see, black and white. You know, so this is the Just Singer, no, opening singer. So this is the first, no, na may sounds. And it was in 1927, no. Pero wala pang masyadong talkie or dialogue, no. Yeah. May pagka-silent movie pa rin siya. Okay. And then the other one. Buti na lang may YouTube, no? Because of YouTube, no, nakikita natin kahit na nung naunang panahon pa, no? Yan, yung example yan. Ito pinapakita naman yung original and then yung may kulay. Ngayon may na technology, no? Kahit yung picture na black and white, pwede na lagyan ng kulay, no?
Mama, stop now.
Yan, tignan mo, kinolor pa, no?
Listen, I'm going to sing this like I will if I go on the stage, with the studio. I'm going to sing it jazzy. Now get this.
So the Just Singer lang. So the first song movie, no? So in that year, no, panahon na yun, ganun lang, no, yung ka-appreciative yung tao, no. In that simple, pero ngayon, dahil high-tech na, nag-iba na, no. Okay, continue. And then from by 1930s, no, nearly all the feature-length movies were presented with synchronized sound, and by the mid-1930s, some were in full color, no. See, in the 1930s, tinatawag na golden age of Hollywood, no. I think aware naman ko sa Hollywood, no. It's one of the known, no, production, no, or producers in terms of film or movies, no, in the United States. And then in 1931, ito yung sumikat, no, Gone with the Wind, no, naging yan, no, popular. And then The Wizard of Oz in Hollywood. So these are Hollywood produced, no. Ito yung kilalang director, si Victor Alonzo Fleming, no. And then in 1940s, A Matter of Life and Death, ito yung mga directors, si Emmerich Pressburger and Michael Langham, no, Powell. No? So yan, ito yung Gone in the Wind, yan, yung mga scene na yung makikita natin, no. Ito yung The Wizard of Oz and the other, okay? So black and white pa rin yung iba. Pero dito may color na yung Hollywood. So ganyan ka no, what we call this one ka-backward, no. In 1939, no, as regard to cinema, no, or movie, so number one, no, yung Gone with the Wind, no, wherein kumita siya ng $198 million, no. And then followed by The Wizard of Oz, no. And then Jess James, Stuart Smith, and then yung iba pa, no. Hindi ko na inaano yan, no. Pero these are the top 10, no, na gross in 1939, no? And then in the 30s and 40s, cinema was the principal form of popular entertainment with people often attending cinema twice a week, no? Kung napanood yung King Kong, no, parang or other movies, no? I think sa Avenger meron din, no? Pinapakita na yung that time, yung theater, parang napakaano, no? Yung mga nanonood, nagbibis pa talaga sila, no? Pangmayaman din, no? And then yung ornate superstar cinemas or picture palaces opening sa facilities. So yung nauso din yung mga cafes and ballroom, no? And of course, meron ding ano, kumbaga yung opera incorporate din, no? Bago manood ng movie, may performing art muna, no? Yung live performance muna, no? Ganun ginagawa, no? Or mga announcement, no? So that time, no, ang lalaki ng mga sinehan, no, in the United States, no, they can accommodate 3,000 people in a single auditorium. No? Ang layo na siguro ng iba, no. And in Great Britain, no, for the record, no, the highest attendance, no, in the Great Britain, no, in 1946 with over 31 million visit to the cinema each week. Bakit kaya, no? Kasi after World War II, no? So yung mga tao dahil they are stressed and they want to find some entertainment. Kaya in Great Britain, imagine, no? Millions yung and kung titingnan natin na yung sinehan, no, that time, no, or the movie house, ano siya, no, maganda siyang negosyo or business, no. Pero ngayon, of course, hindi na, no. So these are among na naging top grosser. I think Avatar, yan ang pinaka number 1, no? And then the Avenger, the Endgame, and then Titanic, kumita rin yan, no? And this one also yung what do you call this one, yung Star Wars, no? And then yung Jurassic, and then Lion King are among, no? Top grosser. So Avatar, no? Lifetime top grosser, wala pang tumatalo sa kinita niya na 2,847,246,000 dollar. And then followed by yung Avenger, no, yung Endgame, no, yung natalo na si Thanos, no. Kumita rin siya ng 2 billion, no. Imagine, no, if you are the producer of this, so probably kikit. And then Titanic pangatlo siya, no. And then yung Star Wars, yung The Force Awakens, no. And then in Avenger, no. So as you can see, madaming Avenger, no. Na naloko kasi yung tao, yung parang sa panood ng Avenger sa big screen, no? Yung Fast and Furious 7, kumita rin ng ano. And then yung Frozen, pang 10, no? Jurassic World, no? Kung titignan mo naman, sa Jurassic World, Avatar, they are similar character, no? Same thing yung sa Avatar, yung babae, sa Avenger, they are also the same character, no? May sila yon, no? Mga artista. Now, in the Philippines, so nagsimula yung cinema or yung pag-shoot ng film in 1896, no? Patapos na yung yung Spanish time, no? Ito yung Pertierra, wherein Pertierra prepared to launch its first movie show at Salon de Pertierra, no? As the phonograph parlor on the ground floor of the Casino Español at Calle Perez of the Escolta, Manila, no? And then from the Pertierra Salon, no, in 1897, January 1, the first film screening in the Philippines took place. Ito yung unang-una, no? And then the first film were pinalabas sa Pilipinas, they are Spanish, no? Un Hombre on Chapeau, A Man with a Hat, Une Cine de Danse, Japonese, Scene from the Japanese Dance, Les Boxer or the Boxer, and then La Place del Opera or the Place el Opera. So yun ang mga unang first na pinalabas, no? They were shown in what we call ito, ganito kaliit, yan ang ginagamit, no? Ito yung tinatawag nating na projector that time, yung 60mm Gaumont Chronophone photograph projector, no? And that was in Salon, no? Any concern? Question? So nag-shift, no, from live performance, na-hook yung tao sa movie house, no? And then sa Pilipinas yan, no, 1897, si Antonio Ramos naman, Spanish soldier from Alamaja de Aragon, was the first one who introduced yung Lumiere, no? Yung kanina yan, the Lumiere brothers, no? Cinematograph yan, no? And then in 1897, sorry, si Liebman and Peretz presented the first movie on the Lumiere cinematograph in Manila. And the inaugural show was presented, no, to the public for the first time on August 29, 1897. On November 1897, the close down of movie hall, no, and then later on, particularly mga warehouse in Plaza Goiti, no. And then in 1898, first movie shot in the Philippines, yung Panorama de Manila, no. Yan ang kauna-unahan. And then yung Besta de Quiapo, Puente de España, and then yung Sena Canyejas. And then si Antonio Ramos, somehow became the first, no, motion picture na kilala, no, a producer in the Philippines. Then later on, umalis din siya sa Pilipinas, nag-business siya sa China, no, si Antonio Ramos. Now, from that one, no, no, in 1899, most of the film na pinapalabas documentary sila, no, like the Battle of Baliwag, no, and then yung Banawe Rice Terraces, Filipino Cockfight, yung Sabong, the Battle at Mount Arayat. Merong sa YouTube, no. Ito 'yon, no. Ito ayan yung mga pinapanood that time, no, in the cinema, and they are silent movie. And they are silver screen, no? Tawag nga lang black and white, kaya silver screen, no? So this is the Filipino War, no? Documentary siya. So these are actual scene, no? Titignan natin yan na ano yan, no? Non-fiction siya, no? Yan, mga documentary na during the American-Philippine War, yan. So that time, ganyan ang pinapanood, no? And silent movie, no, binagyan ng background music yan, no, pero originally walang ano yan, walang voice, no? Yan, walang sound. It's an actual documentary, no, Indian movie, no, na talagang kinapture yan yung scene na yan na nangyayari. At ganyan pa yung Manila that time, no, and of course some of the heroes. And then yung Battle at Mount Arayat, ito yun, no? Documentary din to. So this is American time, no? So silent movie yan. Wala, ganyan lang. Pero the time, pinapanood na yan, no? Nagmamarch, no? These are actual documentation, no? Na capture and kumbaga in the history of cinematography or cinema in the Philippines, considered sila na yan ang mga unang-unang film na nasa Pilipinas, no? And then in 1905, si Herbert Windham shot the scene at the Manila Fire Department, no? Meron din, no? Ito yun, I think this one. So puro black and white, no? Yan. So wala rin sounds. Yan ang mga scene. Actually, hindi yan ang manilap yung sa mga kababaihan naman. First, Philippine first movie, no? Black and white, no? And then, ito, ano na to, no? Documentation. And then in 1909, si Albert Yearsley shot the Rizal Day celebration in Luneta, no? Yan, no? And then the Manila Carnival, and then yung eruption of Mayong volcano, the first airplane flight over Manila, na shot din, no? Or na document din by naman ni Bud Mars. And the fires at Tondo, Pandacan, Paco in 1911, and then the departure of Igor to Barcelona, no? And then the typhoon in Cebu in 1911. So meron na rin, no? Kaya lang hindi ko na-search. So usually that time, yan ang mga favorite scene, no? Ito yung sa what we call na movie na Muro Ami, no? Meron na rin documentary that time, no? And then yung Fluvial, no? Yung mga like Kinapalit, yan, mga procession, yung mga dinodocument that time, no? And then yung Manila, and then yung karera ng mga kalabaw, yan, those are the documented, no? Dinodocument na ginagawang parang pinapanood, no? From those documentation, in 1900, that's the establishment of movie house in the Philippines, no? Yung unang-unang cinema na, or movie house, yung Cinematography, no? Makikita sa Calle Santa Rosa in Intramuros. And then in 1902, nandiyan yung Grand Cinematography Parisian, no? Ni Samuel Rebarder. So actually, foreigner unang owner ng mga cinema. And then in 1903, yung Cinematographer Rizal, ito yung kaunahang Pilipino na owner, si Jose Jimenez, was the first Filipino na nagpatayo ng own theater at the Arzaga Street in front of Tutuban Train, no? Actually, yung Tutuban Train ngayon, kung pupunta ka, mall na siya, no? Yung station doon, nakapunta na ba kayo doon, no? Maganda rin siya, no? And then in 1909, cheaper movie theater were introduced, no? Like the Cine Anda, no? So, tinatawag na, yan, yung kay Frank, Frank Golay and Edita Tige, no? And then, ang daming cinema, no? Yung It, Fast, and so on, no? Now, from the founding of the cinema in the Philippines, 1909, no? Ito naman, 1902, yung Zorilla naman, the vanguard of Venezuela, opera presentation suite showing film, no? So, from theater na ginagawa yung mga zarzuela, and then ginawa na silang mga movie house or cinema na. And then yun nga, no, same year 1909, yung Rose of the Philippines by the IMP company, Carl Neiman, was the first picture film produced in the Philippines, no? Pero question. In the same year 1909, this is the time wherein the Philippine Commission recognized the potential of cinema as a tool of communication and information, no? In 1910, yung Grand Opera House ayan, in Manila, no, began to include movies in between vaudeville number, no? And then movie houses, mushroom in the provinces which had electricity. And then dumami rin na yung mga movie houses sa province, no, like in Pampanga, no, because of meron ng kuryente. And then the first picture sound reached what we call yung chronophone, no? Okay? May question ba? Yan, no? To continue, medyo konti na lang siguro to, no? In 1911, yung Rose of the Philippines was advertised in Manila Time as among the first film produced locally, a dramatic story from the days of the Empire, American Empire, no? And then si Charles Martin documented the volcano eruption and shown around the world, no? Ayan, ito yung parang sa mga no? And then first film produced that time, no, in same 1911, na nagkaroon na ng the first film producer association, no, like kapisanan ng broadcaster ng Pilipinas, KBP, no, and so on, no. In 1912, yung New York and Hollywood film na papanood sa Pilipinas, no, and they established their own agencies, no. And then the Board of Censors, 1912, na Board of Censors of Cinematography was established also by the government. Na ngayon na yung MTRCB, di ba? 1914 film was used by U.S. colonial government as vehicle for information, education, propaganda, and entertainment. No, 1915 Europe and USA, yung best film nila were being enjoyed by Filipino audience in the Philippines. Gaya na nangyayari ngayon, no. And then first tax film was imposed in 1915 also, no. And in 1919, yung Dalagang Bukid, Country Maiden by Jose Nepomuceno, was considered as the first Filipino silent film na pinroduce ni Jose Nepomuceno. Kaya si Jose Nepomuceno was considered as the father of the Philippine cinema, no? And then 1929, yung Board of Censorship, no, tinayo for moving pictures na ngayon ang MTRCB, no, yung Manila was supersede the industry. And then, of course, among the 1930s, in the Philippines was considered as the golden episodes of the Philippine cinema, no? It was only in 1930s na nagkaroon ng talking picture, was already 1 year old, no? Yung una, yung Sinkopasyon, no? And then December 8, 1932, yung Aswang, no? Considered as the country's first talking movie. Pero hindi sa pure, no? Itong Aswang na movie na to, of course, yung kay, The Chronicle, no? Iba na yan, hindi yan, no? And then in 1933, March 9, yung Punyal, no, na ginto, The Golden Dagger, premiere in Lyric Theater, credited as the first na may sounds talaga sa Pilipinas na napalabas, no? And then one of the na may rin, first Filipino movie to achieve international audit yung ni according kay na pinrace ni Frank Capra yung Zamboanga, no. And then in the 1940s the movie are more of war and heroism, no, center of attraction sila. And then in the 50s considered the golden age of the Philippine cinema. And one of the movie na recognized internationally yung ginawa ni Manuel Conde. Si Manuel Conde, siya mismo yung actor, no? Of course, this is modern na, yung kay Genghis Khan, no? The first Asian film screened at Venice and na-recognize sa Cannes Film Festival. Hindi ko napapakita yung naghahabol tayo ng oras, no? And the film industry in the Philippines produced, no? An average of 350 films per year. Ang dami, no? Second tayo sa Japan. And among the what we call in the 1950s, ito yung Big Four studios, no? Siguro mga parents nyo alam yan. Among the yung LBN, yung pag-aari ng mga De Leon, Bilyongko and Noboa, kaya LBN Pictures, and then sa Pagita Picture, ng mga Vera Perez family, and then yung Premium Production and the brand. So these are some, no? Meron akong after in YouTube link to see the movie, no? Kaya lang since I want to finish the discussion, kaya hindi ko na pinapakita. And then in 1950s also film where fantasy, yung topic nila, more on fantasy and adventure, drama, slapsticks, comedy, drama, comedy, musical action, no? LBN, no, dyan, and Sampaguita Picture dyan nagsimula si Dolphy, kung no, Chiquito, mga komedian, no? Si Gloria Romero, yan, no? Yung mga yan, no? Nida Blanca, Rosa Rosal, no? Yung mga nakikita pa natin ngayon, no? Charo Santos, no? So, stories were mostly adapted also in the comic, no? And then nagkaroon na rin ng local award giving, no, sa Pilipinas. Yung ano ba, yung Urian Award, no? Gawad Urian Award, and then yung PAMAS, no? Are among the Filipino at that time. So, in the 60s, decline and struggle the Philippine strategy contract, no? Bakit yung mga Big Four na sila nag-collapse dahil nauso na yung nagpo-produce yung mga artista ng kani-kanila ng sarili, no? And then nauso rin yung bomba or what we call bomba film, yung erotic, no? So pornography were introduced in 1960s. And then in 70s, the Board of Censors motion picture, yung Marcelo period, dito actually yung sinisensor yung mga movie hindi para actually sinicheck nila kung against sa administration ni Marcos, no? And that was also the time na napasara din yung ABS-CBN, no? Ironically, film became even more violent and sexual during that time or during that year, no? And then nauso yung in the 70s nauso yung bomba, no? Or yung kanina sa mga bold, no? Ano ba yung How, Nimpa, ang pinakamagandang hype sa Balat ng Lupa 1974 ni Gloria Diaz, no? First Miss Universe, ay hindi pala, second Miss Universe. And then during 70s and 80s, the second golden age of the Philippine movie, no? And then 1980, the Philippines ranked in the top 10 film producer in the world, averaging 300 films per year, no? So naging successful yung movie industry or cinema in the Philippines, no? And then in 1982, naging tinatawag natin experimentals period in cinema of the Philippines, no? And then in the 90s, this is the decade of the dying cinema, no? According kay Nick Johnson. Bakit? Kasi yung mga film, advent of the maliban sa mga indie film, and then nagkaroon ng mga piracy, no? And then in the 2000, Philippine cinema was considered sick and dying because of the digital film piracy, no? And 2020 to present, closure of the cinemas due to COVID-19 pandemic, no? Ayan, no? So medyo ngayon, no, yung movie industry or mga cinema, of course, halos 2 years na tayong hindi nanonood ng sine, di ba? Dahil nga sarado. At yung sa SM ginawang di ba? yung cinema ginawang vaccination site. Now, of course, na-enjoy pa rin natin yung mga movie na like sa YouTube, ito na yung platform natin ngayon. And then ako yung Netflix, kaya lang may bayad yung Netflix, no? Pero sa YouTube, libre, no? Basta meron kang internet. Yan, and then sa Facebook, pwede ka na manood. Sa Google, and then sa Apple naman, yung kung may MacBook ka, yung Apple TV or Apple kaya lang may bayad din, no? So ito na yung platform ngayon, no? Kaya medyo nagiging less competitive na yung movie house. Pero mas maganda pang manood sa big screen, no? Because of this following maliban sa mga piracy. Of course, wala nang CD ngayon, no? Kaya yung piracy ngayon digital na, no? Okay? So thank you. That's all for our discussion, no? At least natapos natin pala. Kaya lang medyo hindi ko na elaborate yung last part, no? Okay? Any concern? Question? Are you still there? Pauchi, nandiyan pa ba kayo?
Buhay pa, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay pa.
Sige pa, sir.
Naglalag yung ko, okay? Okay. So I hope na-appreciate nyo yung discussion natin ngayon, no? I will stop the recording first. And then I will ask you kung may and then kung may concern kayo, may concern ba?
Sir, last day discussion na